And welcome to another episode of the Margin Max Minute. I'm 𝗂𝗏 𝗠𝗏𝗀, the Fit Professional one, and I'm so glad that you've joined me today. We are going to take an interesting perspective looking at how to maximize our margins, optimize our teams, and rescue our time in all aspects of our life, not just career, but also family, friends, extracurriculars, our leisure time. We're going to take a look at it. In this particular concept I want you to think about today is entropy. Entropy, if you do a quick web search, you'll find definitions including the following. A thermodynamic quantity representing the unavailability of a system's thermal energy for conversion into mechanical work, often interpreted as the degree of disorder or randomness in the system. The second law of thermodynamics says that entropy always increases with time. Lack of order or predictability, gradual decline to disorder. Those are definitions of entropy. And a little bit of a hint on the second law of thermodynamics says that a closed system is going to migrate toward disorder over time. Recently, as I've been working on my business and noticing that there is a bit of degradation in quality of workflow, basic things depending on where we're focusing our efforts, the concept of entropy came to mind. So I went and dusted off my thermodynamics book from long, long ago at Purdue University, where I struggled to finish that course with a B. I did remember the concept of entropy because ultimately it didn't make any sense to me given the fact that it was counterintuitive in that entropy, the measure, rises with disorder. So in other words, in our systems, we want low entropy if we're going to steal this concept and try to apply it to the rest of our life in order to bring attention to where we need to put in energy to get things done. Isn't it interesting that with the lack of thermal energies, conversion to thermal work, closed mechanical systems migrate to disorder? I find it quite interesting that in human systems, in hard assets like buildings, everything migrates towards a pattern of disorder over time if we don't bring some form of work to it, which is ultimately energy. Isn't it interesting even that me as a organism is essentially a bio-generator that takes food and creates energy in order to power my brain, my limbs, and all of that, where in essence, and indeed, thermal energy is being applied. I find that really interesting. Definitely nerding people out right now. So how can this be used? How can this concept be handy in order to help us through our day and do a better job, not only at work, but in all aspects of our life? Well, again, the concept is your systems, your closed systems are actually breaking down unless you put energy in. And this is where it becomes quite interesting. How do you go about doing that? I'm a believer that we cannot multitask, but we can become efficient at switching our focus from activity to activity. The concept of entropy lets me know that there is an ordering that I should take a look at in my life of where I should put energy in to fix what closed system. It could be in a particular week, that's my family, which needs more of my time and energy. In another week, it could be my career. In another week, it could be simply my personal development because I came up short with a skill gap in order to produce a result that my organization needed me to do. In another time, it might be the market is changing. All these things that we refer to as change is really the result of energy into different systems in order to push them towards a low entropy state or a state of low disorder. It's really beneficial to take a look at it because you have a limited amount of time, you have a limited amount of energy that you can put in, and you really have to prioritize with what's going on. The takeaway is that there's an opportunity cost to where we put our energy. Everything around us is going to be migrating toward that equilibrium state of total inertness where there's no differentiation, everything's the same, there's no mechanical advantage, there's no mechanical work, there's nothing getting done. So it becomes a choice where you want to put that, and the realization that you can't hope that things will go along for a while. There's another principle called momentum, where when we put in a lot of energy, we can get systems to maybe a higher point of performance where that degradation over time is still going to remain above standard. That might be another way to look at things. In other words, you put a little bit more into a particular system in terms of your effort and work in order to get it a little bit higher than the standard you want to get to. And so that as it degrades over time, it's still above standard before you can get back into it to put more energy in. And we get this kind of sawtooth basic approach to everything we're doing based on where we're putting in work and where we're focusing our time. So with that, the takeaway for this week's Margin Max Minute is to really think in terms of the realization that markets, assets, people, organizations, relationships are all going to degrade over time, and you need to make decisions where you're going to put your limited time and resources in order to keep systems at a point of low entropy. So with that, I hope this spurred some creative thinking for you to improve your life as you pursue that very best life. I hope that this episode has created a catalyst for creative energy in you to take a look at how you're going to prioritize, where you're going to spend your energy and time, and just what you're going to ultimately say no to doing. Again, I really appreciate you joining me today. I hope this concept will help you sort through and have a great week. Until next time, it's time to get to work.